So welcome to the Deal Finder Corner. So this is your weekly property talk show brought to you by Property Filter, hosted by myself, Guillaume Black, your favorite Frenchman, and the CEO and co-founder at Property Filter. And as you know, it's the UK's highest rated platform to find deals. And we're on a mission to empower our property investor and deal sourcer members to find another 1,000 deals this year, thanks to the Property Filter blueprint. So the purpose with these Deal Finder Corners is to give you, as a member, the best of the available resources by inviting expert guests who will share with you the latest and most current strategies, tactics, and secrets about what actually works right now in terms of finding, making deals, and the reality of systemizing and running a high-performance business in property. So it is my immense pleasure to introduce you to Immanuel Ezekiel today on today's Deal Finder Corner. So Immanuel Ezekiel is a property investor, property developer, author, speaker, trainer, and high-performance coach. And he has overcome adversity to become a beacon of success, throughout his life and property career. Is nothing short of inspirational. He has a large buy-to-let property portfolio he has a large buy-to-let property portfolio that is valued in the millions, and he created a financial support. How do you call it? A
financial brokerage. Money management consultants of
That's
money.
right. Financial management company generating over 7 million in sales. And his story from rags to riches is a powerful testament of what you can achieve with vision and perseverance. And what I'm about to share with you just now, I had to read 3 times when I got Emmanuel's bio. In his 7th decade, I could not believe this, I thought you were like 20, 30 years younger. He boasts a physique that defies ages. Like I wouldn't stand on the beach next to Emmanuel, proving his belief in a strong connection between financial prosperity and financial wellness. So I'm really, really, really happy and excited to have you on Deal Finder Corner today. So what we're going to cover, so one is his formula to how you can become great at anything. Secondly, the components of a positive mindset and how to cultivate happiness throughout your life, career, and anything you undergo. And then we'll have an amazing time with an exclusive Q&A with Emmanuel. So I'm very much looking forward to hearing more of Emmanuel's talk today. So please give a massive Property Filter virtual welcome to Mr. Immanuel Ezekiel.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for that introduction. So I thought I would do a talk that's slightly different to most people in property, because there are lots of different strategies or techniques or business models that you can follow within business. However, it doesn't matter what you do, whether it be property or any other kind of business, there are some principles that allow you to be successful in whatever you do. So before I start, I'd like to maybe just give a brief introduction to myself. So I am a property developer. First and foremost, my company is called Broadwing Homes. We build boutique houses and flats, predominantly in London and the M25 area. Typical GDVs are anywhere from 3 to 10 million pounds. So that's the arm of our development side. I am a best-selling author. I've written a couple of books, which I'll cover a little bit later. And both of those books have been endorsed for some really special people. So the first book was endorsed by Brian Tracy, that you might have heard, and the late Bill Bartman, USA Billionaire Entrepreneur of the Year twice. And my second book, which I'll cover a bit later, is also endorsed by people like Rob Moore, Emma Willis, Matt Willis, Alex Reed, MMA fighter, and Simon Wilson, influencer. I am an angel investor in my own right. So besides doing my own developments and being a buy-to-let landlord, I am an angel investor. I invest not just in property, but I invest in businesses and other schemes as well. I'm pretty much known as a JV specialist. JVs are in all areas, in all businesses, and most people don't realize your JV partner is also your lender. Because if you don't pay your loan back on time, you don't do your development on time, I guarantee you that joint venture partner will have your asset before you do. So I'd give a lot of help and recommendation around those specific areas. I'm also a property and business consultant. Again, I help people around property, strategizing, understanding the complexities of property and what you need to get in there. I'm also head of a very large organization for developers called Trusted Land. And that's where you have a platform and a community of everybody involved in the development space, architects, surveyors, planning consultants, funding, all under one roof, but it's purely for people in development. So for newbies, it's a community specific for people in the development arm. And I said, last but not least, Broadwing Homes is my development arm. So a couple of books, as I said, that I've written, which I'll cover a little bit more in detail later. The 6 Steps to Financial Freedom was when I had my money management consultancy business. And that book was designed to get everyone out of debt, including their mortgage, without earning any more money and saving between 25 to 50,000 pounds with interest, and reduce their mortgage term between 1 and 7 years, again, without earning any more money. The book was designed to help you understand how banks work and to reverse compound interest, how banks use compound interest against you to actually turn it the other way around so you can get out of debt as quickly as possible. Wealth Beyond Money is my most recent book, which I'll cover in a bit more detail later, but it's purely about having balance in all areas of your life. And I said I will cover this in a little bit more detail later. So a couple of programs I've been on that you might have heard of. One was Property Elevator on Sky TV, and I was acclaimed for probably one of the most polished and refined presentations to obtain finance from the fellow angel investors. And I was one of the few people that got funding that rejected the funding, mainly because I knew my worth. But more importantly, I went on the program not because I needed the finance, but I wanted to test my presentation skills, but also my numbers, that if other angel investors are confident enough to scrutinize my numbers and still want to invest with me, it shows that I'm doing something right, and to raise my profile. I also appeared on a program called Rich House, Poor House, which you may have heard. And again, I was a bit skeptical about going onto Rich House, Poor House, purely because of the editing, and editing can be good, it can be bad. But I wanted my children to go and see what it would like to live compared to the life that I've created. I come from a very poor background, and going back for me wasn't that difficult because of the background I came from, but my children to actually understand just the level of life that we have compared to the average person almost anywhere in the world is we take for granted. I didn't want to take it for granted. I wanted them to see how special we had, but more importantly, the other reason I went on the show is I wanted to do something that was inspiring for the people in the home and for people afterwards to take on board that they could make changes. So one of the things I did very simply was look at their income and assets. We literally, within 10 minutes, I saved them over £200 a month in cash flow. So £200 a month for a person not earning very much is a huge amount of money. The other bit I did is I showed them, because they were on a low income, how they could get from a government scheme 50% guaranteed interest with no risk over a 2-year period. So there's a couple of bits that I actually did, and they're all things that I put into my money management consultancy business to show people how to make their money go further and increase their wealth. So those are the sort of things that I have done and still do. And as you can see for the middle picture, I'm also a speaker and a trainer to help people in terms of understanding not just property, business, finance, and mindset. So this talk is about positive mindset and the power of your mind. And normally when I do this in an audience, but you can do this when you're at home if you'd like to participate, and to just show you how powerful your mind is. So if you'd like to, could you all stand up wherever you are? Literally just stand up and just point your finger in front of you. Then I'd like you to just turn around and find a spot as far as you can go to the back wall, and just make a note of that spot as how far you can go. And then come back round and place your finger back to where it was. Now this time, I'd like you to just close your eyes. And this time I'd like you to visualize in your mind with your eyes closed a place and a position further than you went before. And I want you to really focus on how much further you can go with your eyes closed. So with your eyes closed, I would like you to just close it now and then keep turning and keep turning until you go past the spot that you went to and go as far as you can go with that in your mind. And once you've got there, I'd like you to open your eyes and I'd like you to see just how much further you were the second time round than the first time. The first time round, you had your open eyes. The second time, you had your imagination. Now, most of you, if you did that correctly, would have gone anywhere between 10 and 40% more than you did the first time. Nothing had changed other than you visualizing where you'd like to be and how much further you'd like to be. Because the brain doesn't understand the difference between fiction and reality. The brain only works in two things: pictures and emotions. So if I say to you, don't think of a pink elephant, you're already thinking of a pink elephant. Have you ever seen a pink elephant? I don't think so, but your brain will create the picture for you. So your brain and your mind is the most powerful tool that you have. And if you don't know how to control it, you won't get the maximum out of it. It's like having a supercomputer with a microchip in it that has the capability to process as much information as possible, but you don't know how to access it. And hopefully today I'll give you some of the bits to allow you to access that chip that you have in your brain. And if you have any comments, I'll answer any questions that you have at the end. This is one of my favorite subjects to speak about, which is the mindset and the power of the mind. So I don't know if you can see the screen at the top, but everything starts with vision. And what I mean by everything starts with vision, everything starts with something being created in your mind. So this computer that we're looking at now, the program that Gil and the team has actually produced, Property Filter, was created in his mind first. Everything that we have, the pen that you're using, the glasses that you're wearing, the shirt that you were wearing, everything that we have on this planet, other than nature, and some people will say that was created by God in his mind and his vision, but everything that we have on this planet has been created in somebody else's mind first. And we often hear people say, when I see it, I'll believe it. But here's the truth. When you believe it, you'll see it. When you believe something first, you will then see it. It's not the other way around. And your brain is the same. With your brain, if you actually put something into your brain as a vision, and that's why we see 5-10 years after somebody's talked about a particular subject or invention, we see it come to fruition because it's created in somebody's mind first. So it all starts with your vision. What is your vision? What do you want to create? Where do you want to be? And helping your brain and your mind come up with the solutions. Your brain is designed to come up with anything that you ask it. And I'll give you a couple of examples. Have you ever been in a meeting or met somebody that you know and you can't remember their name? And then either half an hour later or an hour later, or even the following day, their name pops up. That's because your brain is always searching for a solution or an answer to the question that you ask it. So the better the quality of your questions, the better the quality of your answers. So vision and how you want to see yourself is really important because the brain only sees two things, understands two things, is pictures and emotions. The next part is time. Things take time. We do live in a world where people want instant gratification, but to create anything of substance takes time. To be good at anything takes time. We tend to want to find ways to shorten the time, and you can shorten the time. And one of the ways that you can shorten the time on anything is find an expert who already knows and doing what you're doing or want to do, find out exactly what they're doing, find out exactly how they're doing it, the sequence that they're doing it, and you will get to that position pretty closely. Then consistency. You know, I often see people start something, but they don't finish it. So even when you go to the gym, you don't get fit and healthy the first time or the second time or the third time. It's the consistency of those habits on a regular basis that give you the results. Same with property. You can go and see one property and not get a result, or two properties. You might have to see many properties, deal with many agents over a period of time. Even when you're learning the new software, that takes time and it takes consistency until you get good at something. These are all the steps to be good at anything. Then there's delayed gratification. So delayed gratification is probably the hardest thing for most people because they want to get rewarded pretty quickly. But there's one thing I've learned from being in sport and also coming from a religious background. Delaying gratification gives you the resilience to persevere, not to take rewards before they're due, having time to take that delayed gratification so you can build what you want through the time, through the vision, through your consistency. Then having an expert team around you. No man is an island. We're all good at different things, and people that really excel employ, engage expert people around them. That's a true way to accelerate what you want. We don't have all the answers. We don't have all the skills. I might be good at communication. Another person might be good at technology. So you have to use those skills and bring those people in. Property, we have many people that we need to rely on in terms of expertise. We have lawyers, we have accountants, we have architects, we have surveyors, we have funders. The list goes on and on and on. And your expert team will allow you to accelerate your journey. And as you go through your time and your consistency and your delayed gratification, and you have an expert team, over time, you build a reputation. Your reputation for things that you do consistently, the agents that you deal with, the vendors that you deal with, your professional team that you deal with, your reputation follows you. They say it takes years to build a reputation and seconds to lose it. But these are all steps that you need to have in place and to understand over time to be successful. Can you shorten all of these? Of course you can. You can shorten the time by engaging the expert team. Your consistency, you do your daily habits on a regular basis, you will get that consistency. Delayed gratification, if you have it in one area, you can do it in another area. Your expert team will always help you accelerate where you want to be and reduce your costs. A lot of people see this as a cost when they talk about engaging a team. But just the same way, when you put a builder in place, you're investing in your property, your expert team is also an investment in you and your business. So these are a couple of projects that I was lucky enough to win Projects of the Year. It was last year, it was at the Crowd Property Award. And these are two projects. One was in Purley, which is a 9-unit new build block of flats. And the other one was a 9-unit scheme, a office to resi conversion that needed to be knocked down. And again, I won an award for that. So all of those things that I just talked about in terms of time, a normal new build takes anywhere from 12 to 18 months. Having the delayed gratification where it takes time for the property to be built or to be sold or to be refinanced to get the reward of the profit, that takes time. I had to engage an expert team in all aspects of it, right from the outset, from the architect, the surveyor, the project manager, the contract administrator, structural engineer. All of these different professions allowed me, this is not me on my own, this is a combined effort of all the people, all the things that I've said in the previous slide that you needed to have in place to have something of quality that's built. Now, there's two sides to this story, which I'll come to shortly. So this is an award-winning projects that I got from Crowd Property at the PIN Awards last year in November. But there was more that goes under the iceberg than over the iceberg, which I'll cover in a little bit more sort of detail. So with those projects, the first point, we had to have a vision. What did we want to create? What do we want the building to look like? What was the internal going to be? What was the external going to be? What was the outcome? Who was going to be our avatar customer? Well, time. We had a preset time as you do for projects. Does time always go according to plan? Not always according to plan, which you'll see very shortly. Like anything in life, including your building, it has to be built on a solid foundation. If you don't have a solid foundation, you won't be able to build high and fast. So having a solid foundation is the time that it takes to build that necessary knowledge, skill, team. I said, having the expert team that allows you to bring your vision to fruition, to bring all of the skill sets, the coordination. Because when you do a development, it's very different to doing a refurbishment. There's lots of different skills, people that you need to coordinate to bring it together. Then there's daily habits, so you have to be on site every day, the people that you need to coordinate, the funding that you need to do, the drawdowns, maybe the change, because when you get on site, things aren't always what you expect it to be, the ground conditions, the walls might not be where they need to be. So there's lots of things that you have to do on a daily and a consistent basis to get to where you need to be. And you need consistency. You need that consistency, whether it be on one project or multiple projects, that you're doing the same things over and over again, because you become more of an expert. The more you do something, the more consistency that you have. And as I said, the delayed gratification for most people in property, especially when you do development, you make your money on the last couple of units, the last 20%, 25% of the unit. That's where your profit is. And that's typically anywhere from 12 to 24 months after you actually start the project. So in fact, let me go back a bit. So in this first project here, although we won the award, let me tell you what happened in reality. So these projects were being built during COVID. 2 different projects in 2 different locations, and then all of a sudden COVID hit, as well as Brexit. So we then had 2 builders go bust and another builder that passed away during the project. So we had the delays from COVID, we had the lack of materials, lack of labor, increased cost of materials, and the project took much, much longer than it should have done. We had to refinance 3 times during the project. Things don't always go according to plan. So that's why you need the time. You need the consistency. You need the reputation to get the funding that you actually needed to have the mindset to know that you have the skill and the ability. See, a positive mindset doesn't make a shitty situation any better, because a bad, shitty situation is still bad and shitty. What a positive mindset, it gives you the ability to know by asking yourself better questions that you will find a solution to the actual problem. So although this project didn't go according to plan during the project, at the end we were able to deliver a project and to repay all the people that we borrowed money from, including our main funder. And that's probably one of the very good reasons why we got one of the awards, because we said what we were going to do and delivered exactly what we said we were going to do. And those are all the things that came into effect: the vision, the time, the solid foundation of doing other schemes. And just remember that there won't be anybody in business that hasn't had a problem at some time. It's not through the good times that we grow, it's through the difficult times that we grow and that we expand. We become better versions of ourselves through adversity. When things only go well, we don't always learn the skill sets. We don't always have the mindset. We don't always have the tools to allow us to navigate through difficult times. So you want adverse times. You want to do business with somebody that has had a few obstacles along the way. If you speak to any entrepreneur, any successful person in business, they will tell you it hasn't been a straight line. Just like your heartbeat isn't a straight line, just like the stock market isn't a straight line, business isn't a straight line. You will have your ups and your downs. And when you have your ups, you ride them. When you have your downs, you limit them, but they will still be there. I said, my expert team allowed me to navigate around that with architects, surveyors, structural engineers. We had to do many different changes. The building wasn't the sizes that we expected it to be. The the commercial building when we took it down, and we had to take that building down brick by brick because it was in a block of terraced offices. When we took the building down, the building wasn't the size that the drawings had been drawn. It was actually bigger. So we had to redesign it because of the skin. So nobody could know that until we actually took it down. So there's lots of things and obstacles that come your way. But if you have your expert team, your foundation, you do things on a consistent basis, and you have the inner belief and mindset you can come up with a solution, you will. And that takes me to this part, which is the next part. So when it comes to consistency, gratification, at the grand old age of 60, I decided that I wanted to give myself a gift. And my gift to myself was to be in the best physical shape I could be, and to be within the top 5% of the world of people at my age, because I think age is just a number. So all the things I talked about before, delayed gratification, which is reducing my food intake, not having alcohol, having the right kinds of food, the daily habits, the daily consistency, the compound effect of doing things on a regular and consistent basis. And after only 10 weeks, because I do train on a regular basis anyway, so I did have a solid foundation to start with, but the outcome was that at the age of 60. So yes, you can do almost anything. And I created this in my mind first. I knew what I wanted to achieve. It was my vision, my belief, my desire. I then had to engage an expert. So I got myself a transformational coach, because even though I train to get to this level, I needed expert help on nutrition, on diet, on consistency. Because we often think we have all the knowledge and all the skills and we do it well. But the difference between a gold medal and a silver medal is only 1/100th of a second. But people only remember the person that wins the gold. So if you want to get gold, you employ the coaches. There isn't anybody in the world that has excelled that doesn't have either a business coach, a consultant, professional part of their team to help them grow and expand and scale. And I was no different. I used different people to help me get to that particular base. And this took literally 10 weeks from what my base was already. So I'm pretty fit to start with, but to get to this level required a different kind of mindset, a different kind of consistency, a different kind of daily habits. And the reason why I show you this, it doesn't matter whether it be fitness, it's in any area of your life that you want to excel in. You have to apply those principles. They follow as night follows day, as day follows night. You have a process that you have to follow. It's daily habits, it's consistency, it's delayed gratification. And then you see the results. You don't see the results when you go to the gym on the first day, the second day, the first week, the second week, the third week. People start noticing after 6 or 7 weeks. You don't really notice until a few weeks after. And that's the same in business. It's the same in property. People see the results after weeks or after months. They don't see it straight away. And in property, there is no such thing as get rich quick. It's get rich slowly. Be consistent. The people that have really endured property have been consistent over a period of time. I've been in property for over 30 years. I've seen 3 economic downturns. I've seen interest rates as high as 15%. So we go through ups and downs. And if you know how to navigate the market, you know how to manage your cash flow, you know how to manage your loan to values, understanding debt ratio. There's so many actual moving parts, and having the professional team around you, you can achieve almost anything. So first and foremost, there are a few things that needs to have the ingredients of a positive mind. First thing is language. And what I mean by language is the language that we communicate with ourselves, both externally and internally. So as I'm speaking today, I'm using my external language. However, each and every one of you will be having an internal dialogue while I'm speaking. trying to interpret what I'm saying. Some of you will be saying, I hate his shirt. I don't like his beard. Is he making sense? Can I use this? We all have this internal dialogue chatter all the time. And it's really important to catch the language that we use. We can either use positive language or we can use negative language. And I'll give you a couple of examples. So when it comes to language and people that you know, if you know somebody that is positive and happy, is their voice up or down? Is it loud or is it shallow? Do they speak with a smile or not speak with a smile? The same token, if you know somebody that's miserable or unhappy or depressed, will they talk with a shallow voice? Will they put their head down? Will they speak slowly? They're using language in their body to how to communicate with themselves. So the language that we use to help us and to motivate us is really important in regards to how the brain takes on information. Secondly, being honest with yourselves. Lots of people are dishonest with themselves. They either make the situation better than what it is or worse than what it is. They don't look at the situation in reality and be honest with themselves. People tend to exaggerate what they're doing, whether they're doing well or whether they're doing badly, they tend to exaggerate. So the first part is being honest with yourself, using honesty to really assess the situation. Because when you assess the situation honestly, you can start coming up with new solutions, better solutions, whether you want to improve upon what you're doing or to get around a tricky situation. The language that you use and the honesty that you use with yourself within the language is important. So I have a very strong belief about nutrition. And the reason why I have a strong belief about nutrition, I'm now at the grand age of 62, not 60. And what you feed your body and you fuel your mind is the energy that you generate. We are all high performance sports cars. If you were in a Ferrari on a Formula One track, you wouldn't put diesel in it. You would put the best fuel to get the optimum. Your body is so important. It fuels your mind, it fuels your energy. And if you're sluggish, it will affect your decision making, it will affect your energy. So I'm very big into nutrition. I don't say you have to be super fit, you don't have to look anything like me. You just have to have a diet that supports you and your ability to make good decisions, because what you feed yourself really does change your mood and your decision making. And for those of you that like sugar or sweets and chocolates, which all of us do, just bear in mind that sugar is more addictive than cocaine. And we know how addictive cocaine can be. So how you feed your body, how you feed your mind, for me, is one of the important factors of how I keep focus on a regular basis. Again, exercise. You don't have to exercise like a madman or like I do, but exercise is just walking. It's using your body, keeping your body in motion. We are a fantastic put together piece of equipment that we need to look after. And there is a saying, your body looks after you until the age of 40. You need to take care of your body after the age of 40. But the easier and the more you spend on time on your nutrition and your exercise, the easier it is for you to create longevity and keep your body and your mind in a positive mindset. Your physiology. So what I mean about your physiology, how you use your body is how you create energy. So when you're down and you want to create more energy, you have to use your body. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples. In sports, when people want to increase their energy and G up their team, do they say, come on? Or do they say, come on? They use all their body, they use their voice, they use their energy. And the easiest way to change your state is to change your physiology. And how you do that is, again, if we were in an audience, I'd be getting you all to be standing up. I'd be getting you to jump up and down and start shouting, and you'll see within an instant, literally, within a few seconds. Yeah, just by changing, your energy will change. Your state will change. You'll have more energy. And that's how you keep your momentum going. Because people like to be around people that create energy. Comedians get the highest amount of money because they change your state and they change your energy. They make you laugh. They make you use your body. So changing your physiology, how you use your body, just by moving your body, will change how you think and how you feel. It will change your energy. It will give you passion. People want to be around people that have high energy, not low energy. And hopefully I'm delivering some high energy today and not low energy. Questions. Questions are one of the most important tools you can ever have, because questions hook the mind. The better the quality of your questions, the better quality of your life. When you have a problem, ask yourself a question. How best can I solve this? How many different ways can I overcome this? Who else can I help, or who else can I engage to help me do that? The quality of your questions will determine the quality of your life. How much more can I get? What more else can I do? Who can I engage? The questions you need to ask yourself, the better questions you ask, the better the answers that you get. And the quality of your questions will determine the quality of your life. Get good at asking great questions to other people and to yourself. More importantly, to yourself. If you want to be somewhere, do something, get to a different level, ask yourself better questions. People that are creating new things all the time are asking themselves questions ongoing. They don't stop. They get an answer, they keep going. Look at Facebook, look at Amazon, look at the software that we're using today. Zoom, look at the software that you're using on Property Filter. There's questions being asked every day. How else can we make this better? How else can we get more customers? How else can we keep customer retention? How else can we give value? Today is another question. How do we give more value to our audience? The better the questions you ask, the better the quality of your life and the better engagement you have and the happier you'll be. As I said, the brain only works in pictures and emotions. So have yourself a vision board, create pictures and emotions to attach to it. We will do more to elicit something that has an emotional attachment to it. People will do more to stop somebody taking money from them than they will to earn money. It's an emotion. Emotion of losing something is much stronger than an emotion of gaining something. So create the pictures and the emotions that you want for your life, for who you want to be, for your partner, what your goals, aspirations are. The better the pictures, the better the emotions, the better the questions you ask, using your physiology. All of these are what I call the compound effect in terms of getting to where you want to be. So in the questions, just tell me what the number of the parking spot is. Just put it in of what the number of the parking spot is, please. And William, if you can actually call out the number when they actually say it. Different answers.
Yeah, we've got 89, 86, 87.
Yeah.
87 again.
Yeah. Any others?
90.
Yeah.
I've not gone around to look at the problem myself, Immanuel.
Okay.
I'm obsessed about looking at the math behind it.
I always put something in that allows you to think and to engage. And in reality, that's the answer.
Oh, excellent.
So the answer is 87. Now, in life,
Amazing.
we often have to look at something in many different ways, not the way that somebody intended for us to look at it. Because agents always give you something to look at the way they want to, with the price, with the valuation, through the back door, through the front door, telling you who else is interested. The vendor will do the same. In business, will be the same. People are always showing you how they want you to see something. It's their presentation of the world, how they want to do it, to allow you to make a decision or to confuse you. But sometimes and often you have to look at something upside down. You have to look at it at different angles, because each time you look at something, you will see something differently. And it's about having your mind to be open by asking different questions. How many different ways can I look at a particular solution? I do lots of stuff where I get people to engage around lots of different kind of numbers, because property is all about numbers. It's not about emotion. It's not about numbers. Does it have to be a red house, or could it be a greenhouse? Does it have to be in parking spot 89 or 91? What makes it work? What is the strategy? How am I going to buy? Is it a single let? Is it a buy to let? Is it a HMO? Is it serviced accommodation? Is it a title split? Each one has a different equation, and you have to be able to look at something, and two of us can look at the same thing and see something completely different based on our knowledge and our skill set, and also our returns. Not all of us want the same returns. So you have to look at everything in a different way, in a way that works for you. So whether you have the right answer or whether you have the wrong answer is not important. The important thing is that you're able to look at something in multiple different ways, to look at a problem, to look at a solution, ask yourself a different question. What could the number be? How else do I need to look at this picture? What else do I need to do? Because sometimes when you look at a problem, you need to go over it or under it or sideways or bring in some additional help. All of these things are tools that you need to have on a regular and consistent basis. As I said, a shitty situation, a bad situation is still that. But if you have the tools and the ability to allow yourself to be able to navigate around it, you will do. Now, not everything in life turns out the way you want it to. Sometimes you will get a curveball thrown at you. Sometimes things just don't go your way, and you have to figure out a solution to the problem. And in a moment, I'm going to give you something amazing that happened to me, but also at the same time, just before it happened to me, everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And to give you an idea of how I was able to manage that. So, as I said, sometimes things happen simultaneously. So on my projects, we had COVID. But I've also experienced death and health issues. I think we all have in one shape or form. These curveballs get thrown at us all the time. They're just a curveball. They're just a moment in time. Nothing lasts forever. They're just a moment in time. As I said, it doesn't make a shitty situation any better. It really doesn't. You have to have tools. What are the tools that you need to allow you to navigate through that? And I said, the questions you ask yourself, the mindset, your physiology, all of those things are tools that actually help you. Visualization, for you to visualize, because I said the brain only thinks in pictures and emotions. What are you trying to create that's going to be better than your current situation? What do you need to put in place? What questions do you need to put in place? What do you need to put into your brain to say, how do I make this better? And I said before, the questions, the quality of your questions will determine the quality of your life. Those are the tools and things that you need to have to ask yourself in almost any situation that you have, because a curveball will always come your way. Sometimes daily, sometimes weekly, sometimes when you least expect the curveball to come your way, it will often come your way. And it's being able to deal with the situation, being honest with yourself, being honest with the situation, looking at the situation properly, and then saying, okay, what do I need? What questions do I need? Who do I need to engage to help me navigate through this particular situation? So as I said, these particular projects, the ones that we won awards for, anything and everything that you could think of that could go wrong, did go wrong. So on the first project, the first contractor, even though this was a new build of a detached block of flats, when they started digging the foundations, when you go below a certain level compared to houses next to you, you have to put a different kind of support system in place. Otherwise, you get a landslide. Well, this contractor did dig and they didn't do the angles properly. And we caught it just in time before landslide, but a landslide could have had both buildings come down either side of us. We then moved contractor, as I said, because they didn't show reputation. We had another award-winning building contractor that was doing millions of projects on the one on the right-hand side. During the project, because of COVID and they were over-leveraged on other schemes, they went bust. The one on the right-hand side, when we started with this particular project, as you can see, it's between two other office buildings. We had to take it down hand by hand, or brick by brick, should I say. When we got to the actual structure, the actual foundation and the depth that we needed to do had to be dug even deeper. And because we had to take it down brick by brick, the actual plans that were approved by another architect didn't work. So we had to go in for an application, which was called a Section 73, to get it adapted. We then had a contractor die on us. Different funding, different schemes. All of these things happen and you have to deal with them at the time, but you have to look at them realistically. So COVID happened. So COVID, in terms of most developers who suffered at the time, were increased costs, delayed time of your scheme, lack of labor, and lack of materials. Now, as I said, in terms of time, reputation, skill set, questions, and because of my financial background and the contacts I've had and being through Trusted Land, I was able to secure something that very few people did. And I was able to secure new funding at 0% interest rate for 12 months. So both of these schemes, the GDV is roughly 8 million. I was able to secure on these two schemes, and I had other schemes as well in the background. So I'm only just showing you these two schemes. I secured over 5 million of funding at interest rate. That's because I understood the rules. I asked myself better questions. I had better contacts and was able to do that. So things happen all the time to us in life, in developments, in schemes. Sometimes they go to plan, sometimes they go better to plan, sometimes they go to plan at all. But having a positive mindset, asking myself better questions, tapping into my professional team allowed me to take a project that was failing into an award-winning project. So having that inner belief, that inner confidence, changing my physiology, changing my mindset to make sure that my brain was working properly, the nutrition I was giving myself, because I do believe I am an optimum sports car. I need to perform at my highest, and the way that I do that is through my exercise and diet. I'm not asking you guys to do the same. I'm just telling you what works for me. Doesn't make me right, doesn't make me wrong. It's telling you from my experience and for people that I work with that it makes a massive difference to your quality of life, your quality of your decisions, and how successful you want to be. So, remember I said to you I was going to talk to you about one of the greatest moments of my life and one of the worst moments in my life. So this picture shows one of the greatest moments of my life, which is when I got engaged recently. It was in Ibiza last October at a place called Ocean Beach. But if I tell you what happened beforehand, in fact, let me tell you what happened in terms of the organization, because I think that's quite important. So this particular beach club doesn't do these kind of events, but I happen to have one of my friends that was a DJ going to be playing there that day under one of the promoters. They have different promoters come on a regular basis. So I had to get the DJ to say that he would play the songs that I wanted to in a certain order. I had to have the promoter to allow the DJ to play the songs. I then had to have the venue agree to let the promoter have the DJ play the songs. I then had to have special girls brought in with the signs. I had a fake photographer, a proper photographer, videographer, fake influencers, all in the background. And I've been planning this for months. We were actually in Ibiza the week before because we planned to go twice. We planned to go for the second weekend. My partner didn't know anything about this. Nobody knew about this other than me and the DJ and the promoter. On the flight on the way home on the Monday night, as we landed, my fiance, or my partner at the time, Sharon, had a phone call that her mother just passed, died for most people. So this was on a Monday, and I'd been planning to go back on the Saturday for 2 days, and I had this all prepared. So on the Monday night, got two things. I've got my partner that's grieving, and I'm thinking in my head, all this stuff that I've organized, that I will never be able to coordinate the sequence of all these things at the same time. We go to the nursing home, we get the time of death. They can't do anything that evening. They say, you've got to go to the doctor's surgery tomorrow to pick up the death certificate. So on the Tuesday morning, we go to the doctor to get the death certificate. The doctor says, I'm sorry, I can't give you the death certificate because we have to go and view the body. Now, they've already had recorded the time of death. So I did have a little bit of sense of humor. And I said, well, unless she's related to Jesus, I don't think there's going to be any kind of resurrection between last night and this morning. Anyway, they said, we can't do it. We have to go to the morgue and we're going to have to issue the death certificate after we see them. I said, when will that be? They said, well, not till the Wednesday. So on the Wednesday, contacted the doctor's surgery. Again, they said they haven't been able to go there. They're going to go there on the Thursday. So on the Thursday, at around about 3 o'clock, they still hadn't contacted me. I went to the doctor's surgery at around about 4 o'clock. They still hadn't got the certificate. They said there's a problem with their system. So I used some of my language, my NLP technique. I went to the two receptionists and I just said, just close your eyes for 1 second. And I want you to imagine now that it's your mother or your father laying in the morgue. You want to put your parent to rest. Just tell me what you would do. They both got up, went to the doctor's surgery. Within 1 minute, we had the certificate, but by now it was too late to go to the registrar to get it. So on the Friday morning at 9 o'clock, went there, and as luck would not have it, their computer systems were down. So they couldn't issue the certificate. Anyway, at 1 o'clock, we finally got the certificate, gave it to my partner, and also at the same time, we found out that her mother wanted to be buried back in Devon, and we're in North London or Watford area. So we had to arrange that, and that couldn't be arranged for another couple of weeks. So literally at 3 o'clock that afternoon, my partner said, there's nothing further we can do. Why don't we just go for the weekend? I need to take some time. So Friday afternoon, I called all the people that were on standby and said, it's all on. On the Saturday, we arrived. The Sunday was probably the most incredible day of my life for lots of reasons, trying to put this all together and coming up with the vision that I had created in my mind months in advance, because sometimes shit's happened. But I still had that inner belief and that inner confidence that I would be able to turn a bad situation into a great situation. It turned out way better than I did. This went on social media. It went all wildfire, because it's not often you get an old guy like me proposing at a venue like Ocean Beach, but it really was a spectacular day. So I said, shit happens. Often things don't turn out the way you want it to be, but if you have the inner belief, the inner confidence, the desire, ask yourself better questions, use the people around you, the team around you, which I did, I was able to produce something of some real emotional connection and value that will be with me and with Sharon for many years to come. So in business, in life, there is no straight line to success. And in my experience, what happens in life is most people aren't able to delay the gratification. But whenever you start something in life, we all start off with very little knowledge. And we all start off at the end of the queue. But this is what happens for most people, and the reason why they don't often achieve the success they want to. They stay in the queue, because in the UK, we like queues, but they stay in the queue. And after a little while, they don't like staying in the queue. You might have been this at the airport where you jump from one queue to another, then one queue starts moving quicker than the other. But as soon as you get out of the queue, as soon as you get out of line and you start something new, where do you start again? At the beginning of the bloody line. And people do this over and over and over again. They never give themselves enough time to get around the corner, to move their way up to the front of the queue. They become impatient. They don't do the daily habits. They don't do the delayed gratification. They're impatient. They want to accelerate it. They don't employ the professional team to help them jump up. So they end up being in the snakes and ladders. They get to a certain part and then all of a sudden they come all the way back down because they're not achieving where they want to be. And you have to stay in line. You have to be in place for long enough, whatever industry you're in, whatever profession you're in, to understand you have to take your time in the queue. And sometimes you can jump a few places up in the queue by your knowledge, by your team, but you still have to start at the bottom of the queue and work your way up to the queue. I hope this is making sense. So success, what is success? People only ever see the success at the top once you've achieved what you've achieved. Like the pictures when I did the body transformation, they just see those pictures. They don't see everything else at the bottom of the tip of the iceberg that you need to persevere to be successful. I guarantee you, every single person that you know that's successful in any area of life, not just business, in relationships, will have persistence. They'll have failure. They'll make sacrifices. There'll be disappointment. There'll be daily good habits. There'll be dedication. There'll be hard work. There'll be goals. All of those things that you don't see at the bottom of the iceberg, all those things are the requirements that you need to be successful. And you won't always be successful. Success isn't a straight line. You will have obstacles. You will have curveballs. You will have roadblocks. You'll have things that come in your way. And it's having the ability to navigate and work around it, to have the tools that allow you to navigate it. As I said, a poor or a bad situation is a poor or bad situation, but having the tools to allow you to navigate it will allow you to do so. So there are 4 stages of learning to be great at anything. And these are the 4 stages. The first is unconsciously incompetent. You don't know what you don't know. We all start off in areas you don't know what you don't know. You then move to the next level, which is conscious incompetent. So you start having a few, let me give you an example to make it easy to understand. When you start driving, when you first get into the car, you've got no idea what you're doing. You're completely unconsciously incompetent. You don't know where the steering wheel is, the accelerator, the brakes, the clutch, the wing mirror, the other mirrors, all the things that you need to do all together. Then you have a couple of lessons. Now you're becoming consciously incompetent. You're now knowing what you need to do, but you still haven't got the skill set to do it rightly. So you're still stalling the car. You're not doing things in the right sequence. Then you become consciously competent. You have a few more lessons. You're now doing all the things in the right order because you know what you're doing. You're now at the level of being able to take your test and you pass your test. Then you pass your test and now you become unconsciously competent. You're doing everything without even thinking. You're talking on the phone, you're eating a sandwich, you're having a drink, you're even driving to work on your day off because you're doing things automatically. It becomes automatic. Now, these 4 stages are the stages you need to become great at anything, to become an expert at anything. But again, just like the queue, most people give up at either 1, 2, or 3. They don't allow themselves the time to become unconsciously competent. They're doing things so easily, so often, it's like they're doing it in their sleep. This is your 10,000 hours of doing something consistently, regularly, to become unconsciously competent, to become an expert, to become really good at what you do. Most people give up at 1, 2, or 3, and then they start all over again in another industry because it's not working. And the difference between 3 and 4 is such a small difference, but very few people give themselves the time to understand you have to go through these 4 levels. So number 1 is what I call where you start stupid. You don't know what you don't know. We all start something new, stupid. Even when we look at property filter, if you haven't used it for the first time, you haven't looked at the videos, you start off stupid. You've never used it before. You unconsciously incompetent. You then start using it. You stand there navigating it. You start seeing how it works. You become better at it, become more proficient at it. You start making a few offers. You then use the tool. You refine it a little bit more. You get better at what you do. You become unconsciously incompetent. And then all of a sudden, you can have somebody else doing all of the work for you. You just assess the actual result because you're so competent at what you do. You know exactly what you want. And this is in any area of your life. You have to go through these 4 stages. There's no shortcuts to those 4 stages. You can accelerate it, but you can't shortcut it. You still have to go through those 4 stages. I hope you guys are learning something. So there's a saying, your beliefs become your thoughts become your actions become your habits, and your habits become your results. Your roots are your fruits. What becomes in your brain, your ideas, your goals, your strategy, your support, your fruits are determined by your roots. How deep are your roots? How many branches do you have? Your thoughts will always come to your actions, and your actions will become your habits, and your habits will become your results or determine your results. Nothing happens without thoughts or actions and habits to get your actual results. Okay, so I said I'll talk to you a little bit about our other book. Our other book is Wealth Beyond Money, and the book is really to help anybody that is out of balance in their life in any shape or form. The book was written or conceived by myself and Julie Hogbin during COVID. So COVID had an impact in lots of different areas. It affected people's health, not just physical health, but affected their mental health. It also affected their relationships with themselves, the relationships with their intimate partners, their children, or their work colleagues. And last but not least, it certainly had an impact on their finances. So when we actually wrote the book, we wanted to have a book that was ability to read it 50 years in the past, 50 years in the future, and the principles would all be the same, because we're all out of balance from time to time. Your health is your wealth. If you don't have good health, it doesn't matter how much money you have, that will never replace your health. Money is important, but your health is your cornerstone. Then is your relationship with yourselves, relationship with others. So we've created on the QR code, if you want to take it, a questionnaire, free questionnaire of 30 questions, so you can see whether you're in balance within your health, within your relationships, and within your finances. And it doesn't matter what age you are, we're always out of balance from time to time, and be able to recognize it. So the first sign of change is awareness. And to create that balance, true balance in all areas of your life, does take time, does take work, does take effort, does take energy. And like before, we talk about the 4 stages of learning, you don't know what you don't know. And there are principles that we can all apply, that we do apply, that will allow to bring us back into balance. Because quite often people focus so much time on their money and their business, their relationships, or their health suffer. How many times have we heard people getting divorced because the partner says, well, he's never at home, we don't have a relationship? Or their health suffers because they're spending too much time at work, or their health and their diet is not the same. So the book was created to create true balance. We've had many endorsements, people like, as I said, Matt and Emma Willis. On this book, it was Alex Reed, Rob Moore, Simon Wilson. So It's a great book. You don't have to buy the book. The questionnaire is there for you. And in addition to the questionnaire, we've linked to my previous book, and something that I created when I had my money management consultancy is an asset and liability and budget planner. So you can put in every single aspect of your spending, not on a monthly basis, because monthly changes from time to time. You put your amount that you spend in every area of life, even things you don't think you spend on, we've created it, and it will show you as a percentage of your income and as a graph where you're spending your money. What you can't monitor, what you can't measure, you can't change. So this will allow you to look and see where you're spending your money and how you can actually save money on an annual basis. In fact, I don't think there's anybody I've ever consulted with or helped that I haven't been able to save thousands of pounds over the course of what they're paying by applying this principle first. If you're in a couple, I suggest that you do 3 of them, one for you, for your income and expenditure, one for them, and a joint one. You will be surprised what comes out when you actually look at how you both spend and what you spend together. It really is something magical that happens when you actually see what your money is and what your money is going out, and then how much you can invest for your own future. So that's the end of my presentation. I hope you've learned something. I hope you've got something of value out of this. That was my intention, to help you, to inspire you, to give you the ability to think differently of how to create really excellence in anything that you do. If you've learned something, I hope you're going to use it. And if you do, we'll see. But I'm now open up for any questions. Julian, if you want to ask me any question, anybody in the audience, I'm happy to take any questions.
Thanks so much, Immanuel. That was really, really awesome. Guys, if you've got some questions for Immanuel, please pop them in the chat, and I'll go through them as and when in sequence as they come. I love as people know, I love a bit of a framework, and I think this was really, really clear. You know, like for everything starts with your vision, time, consistency, delay gratification, expert team, reputation, the ingredients around the language, the honesty, the nutrition. We all are a high performance car, you know, it's great to be reminded sometimes. Exercise, physiology, absolutely. And I think something that I've never heard before was around the questions. You know, the quality of your questions will determine the quality of your life, or basically the answers are in the questions. And I really, 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 really resonated with that. And I think it's really, really interesting. It makes a lot of sense with some of the stuff we do, and are we obsessed with certain things? And I guess it's manifesting, as you described, manifesting in the questions we ask ourselves. So that, you know, that's really putting a name on a face with this today. So that's been really, really cool for me. And then you're absolutely right. Like, people get distracted, you know, like with property strategies, with different types of side hustle, and they don't stay in the line long enough. You know, they don't give themselves enough chance. You know, the first line of code of Property Filter would have been written maybe 6 years ago. You know, and we've not made a dime for 4.5 years. You know, or so from it. You know, so it's exactly right. So, and I love your cause and effect sort of relationship, and from your beliefs becoming thoughts, becoming actions, becoming habits, becoming results. So yeah, thank you for that. And then I think the big takeaway for me is how clear it is, you know, and how clear it can be for everyone. So guys, this is your chance, you know, to speak with the main man. So if you've got some questions, here we go. We got Wes. Wes is asking, where did your property journey start, and what is the biggest takeaway you can take from it from a personal and business perspective?
So my property journey started, as I said, I didn't know what I didn't know. So I wanted to get into property, and the first 2 properties I bought as a joint venture with a guy that was working with me at a place at the time called Sharp's Bedrooms. We had a franchise, it was coming to an end. We were looking to try and create a pension. We didn't know at the time what we were doing, but we bought 2 end of development properties at a discount from a developer in Finchley. And they had another site in Barnet, and we bought another 2. So we bought 4 properties within a very short period of time, and then we ran out of money, as you do when you don't have the knowledge, the skills. But we love property, and we wanted to learn more. There wasn't that much around at the time, so we learned slowly about how to start buying and acquiring property. And we did that through income. We pulled our resources and we started building, and then we started learning techniques. One of the things I probably didn't mention, which I should have done, is that I was approached when I was just finishing my Sharks Bedrooms franchise by a financial services company. They knew I was quite good at sales. They asked me if I would put a sales team together for a new mortgage that was coming from Australia to the UK. And at the time, all mortgages in the UK were calculated annually in arrears. If you made any additional payments, it wasn't taken into consideration. They were calculating interest daily, and they had what's called a current account mortgage linked to the mortgage. So that company now is called Virgin Money. At the time, it was called First Active Mortgages, and they had this calculator that I spent 5 weeks learning every possible way to use the calculator to manipulate it, and I became effectively the world expert on this particular mortgage. And within 3 or 4 years, almost all mortgages in the UK would change to daily interest. But the difference with that mortgage, and there were a few that came after that, was if you had £100,000 mortgage and you had £10,000 worth of savings or in your bank account, you'd only pay interest on the 90,000, not the 100,000. Now that might not sound like a lot, but the compound effect of doing so was colossal. Also, by changing your payment profile, instead of paying your mortgage payment monthly, if you paid it weekly or bi-monthly, had a massive impact on reducing your mortgage in your term. So there's lots of things I did were able to manipulate people. So by having this mortgage company and understanding mortgages, at the same time, it allowed me and my business partner to really accelerate our journey into property, because we had the property skills, we had the finance skills. I also have some of the legal skills as well. So having all of those bits combined, and because I'm a very good problem solver, especially when it comes around figures, I'm very creative. It allowed me to accelerate my journey really well. In fact, I went on one training course, a property training course, that the trainer said something in the room that he had no idea what he said, but because of my financial services background and knowing about mortgages, literally about 2 weeks later, I bought 12 properties worth just over 6 million without using a penny of my own money, and I got a cash back of about 200,000 by the way that we could structure the deal. You can't do that today because mortgages are very different, but in those days you could literally buy a property in the morning and remortgage in the same afternoon and get all your money back. So it was a Wild West days. As long as you could breathe and get smoke or steam on a pane of glass, you could get a mortgage. Things are very different now. So it's understanding the market and changing, but that's how I started my property journey. I hope that answers the question.
Simon is asking, when did the mindset come into this in your career?
So the mindset came in fairly early. I'd say in my early 20s. I was in sales, and I saw different people do really well, and I wanted to learn skill sets. I wanted to learn communication. I wanted to learn about selling. And then I stumbled across a couple of books that you might have all heard of. So Think and Grow Rich, The Richest Man in Babylon, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And then, as a lot of people said in there, I came across Tony Robbins, which is Awaken the Giant Within. And those books had the most significant mindset shift. From coming from a very poor background, my father was an immigrant, my mother was an immigrant from different countries, come from very small towns and villages. My dad worked in an abattoir, waking about 3 o'clock in the morning. My mum was a dinner lady. We grew up poor, although I didn't know we were poor because everybody else around us was the same. So the mindset, I didn't want to struggle like my parents struggled. So I was always looking and searching for something, and those books had a massive impact. And like most things, the books had an impact, but I had to take the action to make the impact, make it work. So it's all about implementing the information and taking the action rather than just reading the book. Otherwise, you end up with a lot of what we call shelf help. It stays on the shelf.
Self-development. Awesome, thank you very much. And I have to say, I didn't mention that it was quite an amazing story about your your engagement, because the first time I actually came across you was when this video of your sort of surprise celebration was gone viral on Facebook and all places, and I was like, who is this dude, And then it's because sometimes you're friends on Facebook with property people you don't really know from where, and then it was I remember it was quite incredible. So, and again, congratulations. So
Thank you. It's actually quite funny. That video elicits two kind of responses. Women love me, men hate me now because I've set a bar that they can't reach. So it's also funny and inspiring at the same time. So yeah, it was something that was even better than I'd visualized.
yeah, well, fair play to you. Well, I've got 25 years or so to live up to it. So it gives me some time. No, thanks so much for sharing this story, because I didn't know the background, so that was really, really great. Vinod is DM me and says, I sometimes struggle with consistency. Are there any tips for overcoming this and stay focused?
Yeah, so consistency is just about habits, but we tend to want to do too much too quickly. So, I see this when people go to the gym after New Year's resolution. They go in and they do like 2 or 3 hours in one go, and then consistency then goes. You've got to have small daily increments of what you need to do. And you won't always stay on track. Not everybody stays on track. I don't stay on track all the time. I have downtime as well. But it's realizing that and then getting back on track again. So again, asking yourself better questions, being honest with yourself, being realistic. Sometimes we need to readjust. We need to reset. We're not machines, or not yet anyway, even with the AI. But we have to focus on the things that we're good at. We have to be consistent. We have to be honest with ourselves and put in place a process. So if you want to be consistent, so I go to the gym every day. That's a diary appointment for me every single day. So if you want to have daily habits, just like an appointment, if you're going to meet somebody, put it in your diary, make it an appointment. Even if it's 10 or 15 minutes, you'll get that regular consistency. To create new habits is typically 30 to 60 days consistently to create new habits. And we all come off track. Even a sports car, a Formula One sports car, has to come in to be serviced, to have a rest, to have its tires changed, its brakes changed. It needs to be adjusted. It needs time to reset. So we all need the same. So don't be hard on yourself. Be realistic with yourself and say, I need a bit of time to myself. I need to readjust. I need to reset. What do I need to do so I can become more consistent again? What else do I need to change? Because if things isn't fun for you, you won't do it. You've got to find things that allow you to stay consistent. If you're only doing things for money, you will never be consistent. You've got to do things for things that are better than you. Have a goal. You've got to have a vision that's more than just you. Who else are you doing it for? So I was at a mastermind last weekend in Albania, a massive mastermind. The guy was talking again about visualization, and he's saying he hasn't got kids right now, but everything he's doing is for his future family. He's got a different story. So you have to have something that's bigger than you to allow you to stay on track. Because if it's just for you and it's just for money, you'll come off track. You've got to have something that you're doing something for. I hope that makes sense.
Thanks so much, Emmanuel. Do you have Do you have like a closing sentiment on top of this already for
Yeah,
today?
so I think everybody in life needs somebody to help them to get to where they want to be. So I don't necessarily do mentoring. I do business consultancy. I look at people where they are. I use different techniques. I use NLP, mindset to accelerate their journey. You know, just when people, people often go to, and please forgive the coaches or the psychologists or the people in the room, where they go and they repeat the same story for 12 months. NLP gives you the tools to overcome something very quickly that you can get results in a fraction of the amount of time. So I believe in finding out what is it you want to achieve and give you the tools to accelerate it. And then once you've implemented it, you come back and you might need tweaking again. So yes, I do business consultancy or property consultancy, depending whether you are an investor, you want to do developments, depending on what your strategy is, I can certainly help you on your journey.
Thank you so much. I took so many notes. Really appreciate you coming on today. So thank you all of you for joining us on today's Deal Final Corner. Do take on Immanuel's offer on the book and on wealth beyond money and on the assessment, so you can see where you are with things. And then do take good use of the personal cash flow management resources he was talking about. In the meantime, visit propertyfilter.co.uk, log on to your PropsFilter account, check out the deal blueprint where you can define your goldmine area, engage with motivated sellers, assess properties in seconds, load your pipeline and make deals, have an endless supply of deals, join the top 1% and become a high achiever deal finder. I hope you enjoyed today's Deal Final Corner like I did, and I very much look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you so much. And Immanuel, again, really appreciate you joining today. Thanks so much.
My pleasure. And if anybody can tag me on social media, that would be amazing. Would appreciate the tag.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, thanks so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.